Welcome to Propelio TV. Are you in sales? Well, everyone is in sales, even if you don't think you're in sales. So I am thrilled to have our guest today, Judy Hoberman, who has been in sales for more than 30 years. She is going to share her secrets of selling and also selling in a skirt. We will find out what that means. So stay tuned. We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batchkip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Life and Air.
Hi, Shelby.
Hey, how are you?
It is so good to see you. We've been gone for a few weeks, and it's so great to see you. And we're thrilled to have our guest today, Judy Hoberman, who we've known for a while now. We have mutual friends.
Yeah, decades, I think.
Yeah, and we've even spoken together. I mean,
been on stage
together.
Yeah,
and always learned so much about selling. And I think it's so great, especially with Shelby having her store. All of us, I'm in sales, either trying, in real estate. And so today we're going to spend time with you on learning the secrets. But let's just dive into it. So, you have this great book, Selling in a Skirt. So why don't we start? How did you get started selling in a skirt?
The truth of the matter is that a wise woman told me that when you look back from when you're 4 or 5, there's something that happened to you that brings you to where you are today. And when I was 4 or 5, my dad would tell me all the time, don't do this, girls don't do that, girls don't do this. So what do I do now? Girls do everything, right? And so when I started out in construction and I was in roofing, and I was the only female in the entire state that did commercial roofing sales. And I climbed up the ladder, and yes, I did wear a skirt because it was the 1970s and you were dressed for the part. And that's when I found out that no one took me seriously. No one, because I was climbing up a ladder in a skirt. And so that lasted a short while, but I got into insurance and I stayed there for, I'm going to say probably 20 years. And what I learned in insurance was that you have to learn how to build relationships and how to sell that you're comfortable in. I can't sell like men and men don't sell like women. So we have different qualities and different attributes. So I sold based on relationships. And that lasted for a long time. I ended up having 3 agencies of my own. And then I went corporate. And everybody says, oh, it's so amazing to be in corporate. Yes, you get a great paycheck, you have a wonderful title, but when the culture is not right, it doesn't work for you. So I lasted 2 years. I did amazing things there. I loved it. And that's when I jumped. And that's when I hired a business coach, the first time ever to have a business coach. And she said to me, where do you want to end up? And I said, I want to end up with a bar on an island like Cheers, only on steroids. I wanted it to be very discreet and for the affluent and so on. And she goes, well, how are you going to get there? And I said, on a plane. She goes, no, how are you going to get there? I said, on a boat? She goes, how are you going to get there? And then I realized she's saying, you have to do something before you get there. And so I said, well, if I was starting all over, I would have wanted a female mentor. I would have wanted a female coach. I would have wanted somebody that looked like me, acted like me, and could help me get over the hurdles. And that's where Selling in a Skirt started. And we did it in one day. We built the program, and here I am.
That's great. You built it in one day.
Well, we built the idea. We didn't
Okay.
No, nothing is built in a day.
No.
But we just built the idea, and so we went from there.
So everyone thinks you have to wear a skirt, correct? We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
But it actually
It's
means
an acronym.
something, right?
Yeah. So a skirt is actually standing out because as well as I do, there's millions of realtors, there's millions of insurance agents. How do you stand out? How do you become the expert? The T is I can't even spell it. The K is for keys. The keys to success. What are you doing that's working for you, and how do we put that on steroids? So for me, my key was asking questions. I was the question queen. The I is inspiration. You either have to inspire someone or something inspires you. And how do your core values and what you're doing align? Because if it doesn't work. The R is results. In sales, it's always about results, whether it's the number of houses or the number of clients. And then the T is time management. And that's really, most of us struggle with that. So it happened to spell out skirt, and that's how we got to Selling in a Skirt. See? There's always a backstory.
Yes.
I know as far as women, I was watching one of your videos and it really dawned on me that I definitely have to build a relationship before I buy something and get to know the person, where I think sometimes, you know, men, and I can see it in my own household, husband and 2 sons, completely different, or the men, because I'm in a completely male-dominated field in commercial real estate, differently. They can go buy a property like that and not get to know anyone at all, where it dawned on me that women really have to build that relationship. But then I was thinking, do we take too long building a relationship and we can miss the sale because we feel like we have to get to know the person or trust and all that stuff? Or how does, I know you talk about the difference, and you can elaborate on that.
Well, as you're saying it, I'm hearing the voices that they used to say to me, you take too long, you ask too many questions, you're such a girl, you have to make everybody your friend. And to me, that translates into building relationships. And yes, it does take time, but what happens is you're building their trust. And even if you don't close first time out, and I know in insurance they always say to you, if you don't close, there's someone behind you. No, there's not. You know, and if there is, that person's not your person anyway. But the same thing in commercial real estate. Yes, there are men that are very successful, but there's not a relationship. It's very transactional, and sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes we learn from men, like how do you actually do something quicker and faster and, you know, more efficient. But for me, I never sold anything. I built relationships and I had conversations, and that's why I had so much business and why I built such a big team, because I did it a different way. And that's what you have to decide. Are you ready to do something different? Like, do you turn everything on its head and say, okay, this is not working for me, I'm gonna try this. You know, and I never tell everybody change everything. I say at least try it this way. Ask a lot of questions. That's how you build a relationship. Ask questions and then listen. Listen to what they're telling you exactly what they want and need. That's building relationships. And yes, it does take longer, but what a great investment.
So what do you think is the number one to become that top salespeople? I like to watch a lot of different videos on sales because it's something that surprisingly is not taught in school, barely. I don't even think, I didn't take one class in college on how to sell, so everything is learned by the school of hard knocks. What would you say is the number one that got you, you know, or to our viewers, how do you become that number one salesperson out there?
You know, the first thing you have to do is you have to change your mindset. And the mindset is that you're a salesperson. And so many people don't want to be seen as, you know, the kind of person that has the watches under their jacket, or the slimy person, or the, you know, just somebody that you don't trust. So for me, I had to get it out of my head that I was selling. And so, and this is truly what happened. I was a single mom when I started insurance. And every morning I'd get up going, oh, I have to drive 2 hours. I don't even know if they're going to buy anything, blah, 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 blah. This was in my head. And I decided one day, it was probably maybe a month into me being in insurance, and I thought, I'm a single mom. The one and only job that I have is to protect my family. That's it. That's what I have to do. You know, everything else is just gravy, but this is what I have to do. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. If I'm providing somebody with protection for their family, then I'm protecting their family. So I get up one morning and I said, I've got to drive 2 hours because I'm going to be able to protect someone's family. And that's how my mindset started changing. And so I would drive, and even if I didn't sell, I would act as if they were going to be my clients. I got tons of referrals, and people started to trust me because I said what I was going to do, and I did it. And if it wasn't right for you, I did not sell you. I would say, you know, this is not right for you. Stay where you are. And people would look at me like, aren't you on commission? Yeah. But that's the number one thing, is you have to change your mindset and not worry about being in sales. If you're embarrassed about what you're doing, don't do it, because it's not right. And I'm not sure why anybody would be embarrassed being a realtor or an insurance agent or anything, because you're providing something that people need.
No, that's great. Just like Shelby, you're providing with your Power Fit, and I know watching you on social media, trying to get those sales, trying to get people in there. Thank goodness for social media, how much it has changed as far as being able to get additional sales is so much different than in the last, I think, 10 years as far as selling. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's one thing that I told you, that I was pushed to make sales, like it was all numbers, but I'm more of a relationship builder. It's just, that comes natural to me, and I genuinely care about people. And if they're interested, I want to help them and learn, and I look at it as a long-term relationship. Absolutely. Because all the people that you're meeting now, you don't want a quick sell, you want to build a relationship, and you never know how you could connect with them in the future. Or, I mean, there's a lot in life. So I think it's funny, the people that just want the quick sale, they don't care. It's just bottom line. Obviously, at the end of the day, the bottom line does matter, but I think it's about growing relationships and building a brand and a strong foundation for your business. So when you get to the top, you've got that foundation. So.
And you're right about the relationships, because once you build them, they're solid. I mean, if you're just, one done, that's not it. Can I tell you a funny story? So I'm in insurance, and at that time, our cell phones were not digital; they were analog. So my phone bill was $2,000 a month. Okay,
Wow.
and yes, and I would walk into, it was Bell Atlantic at the time. Now it was Verizon, but it was Bell Atlantic, and I would walk in, and they would like bow to me because they didn't want me to ever leave. Now you walk in, it's like whatever. Anyway, so nobody had my phone number except my children and my office. I made all those calls. So one day I have an appointment, and it's with a mason contractor. And a mason contractor is the first person in, that either builds the house or the commercial building or whatever. They're first. And I'm driving to the meeting. It's on a Saturday. And my son calls, and he said, "Your appointment just canceled." I'm like, "How would they cancel? They don't even know me. Like, why would he cancel?" So I called him, and he said, "No one showed up at the job site. I have to get there." And I said, "Well, where's the job site?" He told me. And I said, "Well, I'll meet you there." He said, "Yeah, right." Now, if you go into my car today, and Pam, you could vouch, if you look in my trunk, I have work boots in my car. You never know where you end up. And they actually are very cute anyway. Anyway, so I drive to the job site. He's not there. Just me in this big shopping center. No one's there. I'm thinking, oh, great. Here I am. No one's there. So I put my work boots on anyway because it's very muddy. And this truck drives in with, the giant wheels. And out pops a mini version of Sylvester Stallone. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. So he pops out, and he said, "I'm so glad you're here." And he showed me around and everything. And so I had a hatchback at the time. We opened up the hatchback, and I did my entire presentation in my work boots in the mud. And he said to me, "Come back on Wednesday, and we'll write this." And I'm thinking, I'm here on Saturday. Why am? And he said, "If you remember, our appointment was in the office, and my checkbook's in the office." Okay, I cut back on Wednesday. I sold him, his brother, and his cousin. He said, "Come back the next Wednesday and just bring applications." And when I came back the next Wednesday, there were men lined up with checkbooks. They didn't even know what they were buying, but
gosh.
He trusted me. Okay, the reason I say this is because from that moment on, he gave me so many referrals outside of the job site. And then he said to me, "You might want to hang out here for like a month." Because after the masons, they come, the framers, the electrician, I wrote so much business that I never had to actually cold call. Everything was based on referrals. And so when you say, "I want to build it on referrals," you can't believe how much business you can get. Think about, realtors, whether you're commercial or residential. How many homes or buildings can one person give you? A lot, if you have a strong relationship. So that from that moment on, I never cold called again. And my entire business was 100% referrals.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say you have, they always say to go to your network first instead of cold calling.
Totally.
They say most people have an average contacts of 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Oh, wow.
That you can just start going right there instead of, everybody kind of dreads the cold calling.
If you have the relationship.
If you have the relationship,
If you try to build a relationship when you need it, it's too late. You'd have to start building. There's opportunities in front of you all the time. So, take advantage of it.
I know on the social media, probably both of you or everyone, audience too, with the social media, people are always sending an email, sending on LinkedIn private message of trying to sell me something, and I have no idea what it is or what they're trying to sell, or it's just a canned thing without building that relationship or how or why I want it, and it's an immediate turn off.
I delete them. Right. I delete. If you don't have a moment to say, "Hello, here's who referred us," or "Here's why I want to talk to you," then I don't have a moment to read this long sales page that you just sent me.
Exactly. Right? LinkedIn, I just look at it. I have so many messages in my inbox, and I figure if it's really important, they'll do a little bit of research on me and they'll get my email address. I respond to emails, but the LinkedIn messaging, I feel like you said, it's just copied, pasted, change the name. Half the time they
don't even change the name.
Yeah, it's the wrong name. So,
yeah.
You really do have to get personal and build that relationship.
Absolutely. That's how businesses are built every day.
Everybody's trying to sell you something and nobody wants to be sold.
Right. So I know you talk about how to sell with, and being more intentional and
Yeah.
If you want to tap on that on.
I always tell people that you have to be intentional about everything you do, where you show up, what your audience is, what you're trying to do with social media. Everything has to be intentional, and you have to decide who you want to be and who do you want to play with. And so for me, I always had to figure out like who's my market. And when I say to people, how can I support you? Who's your market? And they say, everybody. I can't see everybody. But if you said to me, my market are, single moms, or my market are, first-time buyers, or something like that, I can start going from here to here, and I can support you. So you have to be intentional with who you want to sell to, and then you have to be intentional about how you're going to show up. And and I know it's a joke, and everybody thinks that selling in a skirt, I have to wear a skirt, but that's my brand. I mean, that's my brand. So I show up everywhere in a skirt. I do.
And cowboy boots.
And cowboy boots. I always have my boots on, and when it's cold out, I have a leather jacket on. But that's my brand. And so when I show up, people go, "I bet she has a skirt on. I bet she has boots on," and that's the truth. So it's not just the physical part, but how do you show up? Do you show up as somebody that has integrity? Do you show up that you're authentic without having to announce it? I worked for somebody and she said, I am so authentic. I have such high integrity. I'm thinking, well, if you did, you wouldn't have to say it, right? So it's all about, you have to be intentional about who you are and what you bring to the table. And it's not that hard to do if you are truly, if you understand who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, on that, we're going to have to take a short commercial break for our sponsors, which we love our sponsors here on Propelio. So please like, share, comment. We'll be answering any questions that you have for Judy. Just respond. And we're going to take just a quick break here, and we will be right back.
The Propelio Academy, an all-in-one education resource for training in wholesales, subject to wraps, short sales, flips, rentals, burr, property management, and more. Go to propelio.com/academy to get your scholarship today. Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at propelio.com.
Hi, welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show with Shelby, myself, Pam Goodwin, and our special guest and sales guru, Judy Hoberman. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome. I'm having fun. I don't know about you.
Oh, good. We can just talk here all day.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Sales is so important. I think, I wrote a book also I started selling lemonade, I think, when I was 4 years old, and have continued to be in sales. And I think one of the number one key factors on secrets to success in selling is follow-up.
Oh.
And so many people do not follow up. They may reach out to me one time, may not get back to them, twice or three times, and you really, really have to follow up. Most people, don't pick up the phone. So how do you feel about selling and following up, how important it is?
If you don't follow up, don't even bother starting, because the truth of the matter is it takes 6 to 10 touch points to actually reach someone. And it doesn't mean that every time you reach out, you say, are you going to buy? Are you going to sell? Are you going to do this? No, sometimes you just want to have a little conversation with somebody. When you are talking to somebody, remember I said ask questions. When you listen to what they're saying, they're going to say something to you that may have nothing to do with buying a house, buying a building, selling a house, selling a building. May have nothing to do with that. But they've told you something really special. It could be about a vacation they went on. It could be about their child getting married or having a baby. It could be anything. So one of those touch points, you can find an article about, traveling in Italy where they really wanted to travel, and say, hey, Shelby, I saw this and thought about you. Have a great day, and say nothing else. It's a touch point. And people look at it and think, she's not always about business. But when you go to a networking event, I call this a pre-test. Because when you go to a networking event and I say to you, you know what, Pam, by tonight I'm going to send you a white paper. Now, when is tonight? Tonight is tonight. When does it end? At midnight. So if I don't send you something by midnight, I did not follow through, right? So in the morning when you look and you say, she was going to send me a white paper, she sent me nothing, which means why would I do business with her? It's a pre-test. So if you're going to say something that you're going to do something, you need to do it. I'm going to call you later. When later? I always make people, I'm going to do this. Okay, what time? When should I expect it? Because I want to make sure that I'm present when you're available. You know, so follow-up is critical. I'm saying if you don't do follow-up, don't say anything. Don't say I'm going to do anything, because people watch it. They watch everything you do.
Right, yeah, because I know a lot of people, when they tell you they're going to send something, do something, and then they forgot or have an excuse of why they didn't think it, you instantly think, well, if they can't even follow up with that simple task of the white paper, how am I going to trust them with
millions of dollars?
Yeah, millions of dollars and all that. So that's definitely key. And I think that they always said it's 8 to 10 or touches. I think it's probably gone up more.
It's probably up to 12 now. And as we're sitting here, maybe 15. But, you know, and then there'll be people that do it like that. They'll just say, yeah, I'm ready. And you're thinking like, wait, what? So you have to listen for the buying signals, because when someone says they're ready, you better be ready. You know, we had an agent that was not ready to do life insurance. And she didn't want to ever do life insurance. And so she was only doing health insurance. And we would say to her, just take the applications with you and see if just ask. And she didn't. And one couple, unfortunately, the husband died. And so she called the agent and she said, you know, what do I need to do? My husband died, blah, blah, blah. And the agent was heartbroken. And she said to her, is there anything I can do for you? And the woman said, do you know anybody that sells life insurance? We didn't have any. So you need to be prepared when somebody says something to you to do it. You know, if somebody says to you, I am ready to buy a building, I'm buying one today, and you're thinking like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen anyway, so I'll just, you know, mosey along, blah, blah, blah. They're ready to do something. You need to be listening, because there's buying signals that you're not paying attention to.
And how do you feel about the difference, not too much of the difference between women and men, but since I'm in a household of all men, you know, in business with primarily all men, as far as women asking for the sale, I think can be a little bit different in business, asking for the sale. Sometimes I don't know if I'm not hesitant, because I know I need to make money, so always asking for the sale. But do you think women have a more difficult time to delay asking the question or not?
Sometimes they do, because women have a different relationship with money. You know, when we were brought up, it was money's the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. So every time you thought about money, it was like the negative side of it. And so why are you going to ask people for money if it's not a feel-good thing? So I go back to what I said before. I was the #1 salesperson, and I never sold a thing, ever. And so what I would do is, when I was done providing the information that they requested, so we'll go back to insurance again, before I would even say, okay, are you ready to do this? I would say, is there anything else? That was my 4 little words that I would ask. And I mean, I've written papers on it. Like, is there anything else? And they would say, you know what, actually there is. And they would tell me something. And then I would say, okay, is there anything else? And they'd say, yeah, one more thing, blah, blah, blah. And it could go back and forth 3 or 4 times. But you get to the point where you say, is there anything else? And they go, no, this is exactly what I want. They've sold themselves because you provided them the information, and then they, you know, okay, great, so let's start the application. You don't have to ask for anything. So I always say, ask, is there anything else? Is there anything else I missed? Or, is there anything else I should know? Because when you're talking about insurance, there are little hidden things like, well, did I tell you that I'm going into the hospital next week for this? Well, okay, then you know we can't do this. But it's always about money, and they may not want to tell you about money right away, but as you start to go through the process, and they realize, you know what, this is exactly what I want. Okay, let's do it. They sell themselves. But women have more trouble asking because it's a different relationship with money.
That's really interesting. Like psychologically, that makes sense though.
Yeah, and you just go back to when you were little again. And so now you have to rewind those tapes and say, you know, there's nothing wrong with money, you know, unless you're a nonprofit and you don't care about making money. But I know for me, my mortgage company would like me to pay them. So, you know, I mean, I do a lot of giving and philanthropy, but I also need to, I am a for-profit company.
I know it's another thing, going back to school and education and not being taught about money, having teenage sons, 18 and 19, going over how money works with them, because they're asking me, how can I make as much money? They're finding out an hourly wage only gets you so far. And so of course I'm always pushing, you need to start investing in real estate if you want to have that, you know, cash flow coming in while you're in college to, to look at that.
And they have a great role model because they're watching you do this. And that's the other thing. A lot of, when we were growing up, a lot of our parents did not work as entrepreneurs. They worked for a company. And so you worked for, 50 years, you got your watch and you were out the door. But now most people, you think about it, especially women are starting businesses twice as fast as men. So there's a lot of moms out there that are doing amazing things, and a lot of them are from home.
Yep.
So they're watching this and they're thinking, wow, I wonder how you do this. And that's how you do it. You start a business and then you figure out, okay, so here's what I have to do, and you have your goals and so on and so forth. But having a role model is perfect, and it doesn't have to be a family member. We talked about this. You can choose somebody to mentor you because you admire something about them. And you tell them that. And then what are they going to say? Yes or no? If they say no, they're not your people. If they say yes, they're your people.
I know, that's why I'm so grateful for Pam, is because it's nice having someone to look up to and kind of bounce ideas off of. And she's been so kind with not only the commercial real estate, but my business that I started. And it's nice having a strong entrepreneurial role model that I can kind of look and see what she's done. It's because it's true. But if you don't grow up, with strong female figures in your life, it's, you kind of look, because they're men are totally different. So it's nice to have a woman that understands how you have to get through different obstacles.
And she's not doing it for you. She's saying, okay, so here you're going to hit a speed bump. Here's something that I would do. And Pam is very generous with her time, and that's what you have to look for. Everybody, if you want somebody to mentor you, you have to find somebody that is available to you, not 24/7, but somebody that can sit down with you for 20 minutes and just say, hey, this is what I'm running into right now. What would you do? That's all it is.
Exactly.
Somebody that's totally objective, because they're not you and they're not so close to you.
Well, and they don't have a stake in it, so they see it from a totally different perspective.
And they've already been there, done that.
Right.
Right?
So you do mentoring, coaching, training. I think it's great. You've done a TED Talk.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And now you've just been announced for 2019 for the
Woman to Watch from Thrive Global, which came as a
Excellent.
total surprise. I saw it hit my spam.
No.
I'm at the airport, I'm reading like, what is this? I'm like, oh my God. Because it's a really nice honor when you know nothing about it. You didn't apply for it. You didn't pay for it. Because most of the things you can buy and pay for.
Pay to play, as I said.
Right.
Pay to play, right.
And when I saw, Thrive Global named me, I think there were 7 women that they named, and I was one of the 7 to watch for 2019. So I'm like, okay.
Right.
I really am very humbled and honored and grateful and
Well deserved.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about your mentoring and coaching program. So if Shelby and I wanted to come get mentored or coached, what's the process to get started?
First, you have to want to do it. For real. And the reason I say that, I know it sounds silly, but sometimes people say to me, I want you to coach me. And then when I get into it, they really don't want it. They really don't want it. They want to say they have a coach, but they really don't want it. And I don't want to waste somebody's time or somebody's money to do that. But for me, I try to find out, like, where are you and where do you want to be? And the gap that is there is what we're going to do. So we'll create a plan, we'll create, a roadmap for you and all of that. That's coaching. Mentoring is a totally different animal. Mentoring is more about, I need to listen to you and I need to just advise. It's not about, it's not a coach. It's a different, it's hard to describe, but a mentor is more like an ally. A mentor is more somebody that's in your corner no matter what, and will open up doors for you, and will open up their Rolodex. And I know that's old-fashioned, but opening up their mental Rolodex and saying, okay, Shelby, you need to meet this person, this person, this person, and I'm going to introduce you. So a mentor is a little bit different. And people always say to me, like, how do you find a mentor? You ask. My first mentor, a female mentor, because I had many men that mentored me, but my first female mentor, I found somebody that I admired. I found somebody that I thought, I would like to be just like her. And so I went up to her and I said, I would love to know how you do this. And I mentioned one of the things that she does, and she said, oh, I'll show you. There it is. That's how hard it is to ask. That's it. So I always say, find somebody that you admire and ask. If they don't have time, they'll say, I would love to. I can't do it right now, but I could do it in 6 months. Or if they say, I don't have time. Again, it's not your people. Because a mentor would never say no unless there's something else that's holding them back. that has nothing to do with not wanting to do it for you. But a mentor is somebody that really gives them themselves. It's very generous. And you enter into a program where you're both learning from each other, because a mentee will teach a mentor just as much as the other way around. All of a sudden your skills are sharpened because you're teaching somebody, you go like, why did I stop doing that in the first place?
I know, it reminds you,
Yeah. So
yeah, definitely. I know I like to mentor people. People reach out, and I always advise, I don't know if this is correct or not, but it's nice when somebody says, I would like to meet with you on this, and then they'll say, if you need any help in exchange, I can help you with, I have 200,000 followers on Instagram, I can show you how to get that, something in exchange, I think is a benefit, like you said, to both, to learn from, instead of, always just taking from, it's take and give opportunity.
Yeah, because a lot of people will say, can I pick your brains and I'll buy you lunch? Okay,
you
don't have
more
to,
than $10, right?
Right, but you don't have to buy my lunch. And if you're going to pick my brains for 2 years, that's a little different than, can you help me now? So you just have to watch what you do, and you have to, again, be intentional.
Right.
Well, and I've noticed too, being a new business is, obviously I don't have deep pockets right now, so when I just meet people like that you've brought on the show, I'll have a connection with them, and it's nice. People are willing to help you, and if they're not willing to help you, like you said, they're not your people. It's not meant to be. But I found that when you mesh well with someone, they want to help you. When they see that you're trying and you're working hard, they want to help you, and they know that one day you're going to give it back. But it's
But they don't do it for that reason. Because if you do it knowing that someday you might give it back, that's the wrong reason.
Yeah.
It might happen and it may not happen, but you'll never forget that person. That's the whole part of it. And so you're 100% correct. I agree. You ask. One of the things, my mission has always been to help one woman a day. That's my mission. And every time I would say it, whether I'm speaking or coaching or training or whatever I'm doing, or I have a radio show, if it's on that, there's always one woman that would raise her hand and say, can I be your woman? And to me, that is very humbling. Why? Because women don't necessarily ask for help. And so when they do that, and so I never think, let's see what she could do for me today, because I'm going to help her. So I always do that. But one of the things we did do was we decided we wanted to do something bigger. So for my other book, we decided to have a foundation which empowers women and helps underserved, underprivileged, and so on and so forth. So a portion of our proceeds goes towards the foundation. Now, did you know that you can't just give money away? You have to have a real nonprofit. And so it took an extra 6 months to go through the IRS to have a nonprofit, but now we have one. So now we're able to do that. So I always tell people, just if you can't afford to do anything with us, buy a book, because a portion of the proceeds will go towards the book, go towards the foundation.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And I know one thing we'll really wanted to tap in on is time management, which we've talked about before on time management, especially, real estate, owning your own business, just life in general. If you don't time block somehow, I time block when I'm going to go look for property, when I'm going to go work out. It's all in my, when they're going to go meet with people. I typically schedule my breakfast, lunch meetings on Fridays if people want to meet. And I know, when you spoke, you talked about, is it in your, category? You have 4 different categories that if it fits within that, if you could elaborate on that.
So mine is actually 3. I have 3 categories. And the reason I say that is because it's a triangle. And if I do a square, it can be a very big square. So I can't do that. But I have a triangle. And so depending on where you are in your life, when I first was in insurance, it was very different. My triangle was different than it is today. So my triangle is speaking, coaching, training. If it doesn't fit into my triangle, it's called my strategic triangle, it doesn't fit, period. In the middle is my family, because nothing comes before my family. Nothing. It doesn't matter to me, because there's nothing more important than your family. So when you ask me to do something, if Shelby, if you said to me, you know what, there's this great new business I found, and they make cowboy boots, and I know you love boots, so why don't we go into business together? And as much as I would like to do that, I have to analyze my triangle. Is this the right time for me to give something up? Because triangle has 3 sides. So if I'm going to do boots with you, I have to give up speaking, coaching, or training. Am I ready to do that? Not today. But so I'm going to say to you, it's not the right time for me now, but let's revisit this another time. So my triangle says no. It's not me saying no, because it's hard for me to say, I would like to say yes to everything.
Right.
And so that's that's part of time management. The other part of time management, which to me really makes a huge difference, is I'm gonna give you and everybody listening and watching, I'm gonna give you all $86,400. You have to spend it now, okay? You can't bank it, you can't invest it, you have to spend it, okay? And so most people, when I say, well, how would you spend this? Except when I did it with accountants and then they gave me to the penny. I'm like, how would you spend it? So most people say, I would remodel my house, I would pay off my college debt, I would go traveling, I would do all these things, just like that. And then I say to them, okay, so let's be 100% real. Every day you have 86,400 seconds. How are you gonna spend it? And nobody can figure that part out.
Oh, wow.
Right? It's all about priorities. And so that's your time management. Where are you going to spend 86,400 seconds? Because guess what? When you go to sleep and you start a new day, it's a new 86,400. You lost this. You cannot carry it over. You can't bank it. You can't invest it. You can't do anything. You got to spend it. And so when you think about time management, it's all about priorities. And sometimes it's not managing your time, it's managing yourself. So what's really important? Okay, is it important for you to work out? If it is, put it on your calendar. If it's important for you to be on this show, put it on your calendar. You know, if it's important for you to have lunch with your spouse or your partner, whomever, put it on your calendar. If it's not important, it's not going to go on your calendar.
I have a question for both of y'all. So I'm struggling with time management. It's just an ongoing issue of mine. So there are some things that I commit to doing, but they're not a priority, but I almost feel guilty if I don't do them, like in regard to friends, family, different things, when I feel bad saying no, but I want time to myself. Like my favorite thing to do is when I'm not around people is just to sit and be by myself, and I feel selfish, but I don't want to go out to dinner with you. I mean, there are some people I do, but some people it's just, I don't care, but I almost feel guilty because I feel like I need to. How do you manage that?
Okay, so no is a complete sentence. No explanation.
It's really hard for me to say no.
And it will only happen a few times that it's hard. And then after that, you'll see, wow, if you say yes to everything, you're saying no to something that's really important. And it could be yourself. Okay, so you have to decide how you want to spend your time. And if you don't want to go out to dinner, just say, you know, I really appreciate the invitation. I'm going to have to take a rain check. Because what happens is you say yes, and then as it's coming closer, you're going, oh, I really don't want to go. I really don't want to go.
How can I bail on this?
Right. Okay. And at the last minute, you're bailing. Right.
Yeah.
And you're in your car going, I wish I was heading home now. Right. So you can't do that. You have to decide up front, do you really want to be doing this? You know, it's like you sign up for a class and then you go, oh, I really don't want to go to this class. Somebody recently asked me if I want to go to a conference. And in the entire 5-day conference, there was one thing that I wanted to go to. One thing. And I thought, this is a waste of my time. I don't really want to go. I would love to spend time with them, but So I said no. I just said, you know what, there's only one thing I really want, and it's probably not a good use of my time. And nobody said anything. They said, okay, great. That was it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, in the beginning, you might feel a little uncomfortable, but I'm telling you, you have to make time for yourself. And taking time for yourself is selfless, not selfish. If you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of you? Really, seriously. You know, it doesn't matter who's in your life, but if you don't take care of this.
Yeah, that's something that I'm struggling with too, is because I notice I feel guilty when I'll sit down and say, okay, I just mindless, I want to watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And in the back of my head the whole time, I'm thinking, well, I eventually want to get there, but I'm not doing anything right now to benefit to get there. But sometimes you just have to sit and do nothing. But then I feel guilty about it. I'm like, I should be on my computer. I need to be researching this. I should be doing this, this, and this. But then you think there aren't enough hours in the day. And then, like you said, sometimes I'm thinking when I go to bed, I should have done this, this, and this. But it's just it's a constant battle, I feel.
Okay, so do you eat lunch every day?
Yes.
Okay, so what if you just took a lunch break and you could watch Real Housewives on your iPad, you know, from another episode?
Then I feel guilty because it's the middle of the day.
No, but you have to eat lunch. You have to eat lunch.
You can eat lunch. You can be on the computer.
Okay, but multitasking is not all it's cracked up to be. Because when you're multitasking, you're not doing anything 100%.
That's true.
So have lunch and watch your program. Or have dinner and watch your program. Or have breakfast and watch your program. Or get on the treadmill and watch your program. Do something for you to enhance that.
Or just tell, I always just tell myself.
Just watch it.
Yeah, for
Just
30
watch it.
minutes, I need this time. And
Yeah.
no matter what, because
Yeah.
I don't need to think about any business, nothing else. And it's my time of, relaxation to do that and not to feel guilty.
Right, and you have to do that. You have to do
Yeah.
that. I call it my presentation day, and what I do is I unplug totally, and I put an autoresponder on that says, I'm out of pocket, we'll respond to you in 24 hours. So nobody expects me to return any kind of message or whatever for 24 hours. And I actually either have to remove myself from the situation, or I really do have to create something. But I have no time to hear I always turn my sounds off on my computer anyway, because I don't want to hear the pinging. But I don't have any opportunity to look at anything because I've removed myself from it. So I don't have to respond and I don't have to do anything except for me. And you don't have to do 24 hours, but you can just block out half a day. Go do something for yourself.
I know sometimes I just want to turn my phone off.
Do it.
Because it's just text message after text message, and it's not anything productive, but you have to respond, and then if you don't respond, you forget. It's just, I feel like there's just so many things.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Remember I said you have to change your mindset? There's unless it's blood or bones, it's not an emergency.
Life or death, right.
There-
And you'll
that's
realize probably,
It's not an emergency.
yeah, older you get that, wish you would have spent more time
Doing whatever.
doing whatever you wanted instead. And if it's making you money and productive, that's when you need to spend your days doing that, and then cut off at 6 o'clock for other stuff. But
And
if
then be
it's not
yourself the
product-
rest of the night.
Yeah, if it's not productive and you're not making money at it, something's not bringing in income of new people coming into PowerFit, all that other stuff, you need to dedicate time to yourself because 20 years from now you're like, I should have just watched the show because it really didn't matter. I mean, it
Exactly,
did, but
yeah.
Right. And now, I mean, it doesn't feel right to you right this minute, but
with 84,000, how many minutes?
86,400 seconds, how are you going to spend it? Even if you
Break
just
it
said, like,
down.
for 6 hours today, I'm going to work only on my business, period, end of discussion. I'm not going to answer text messages. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to work solid. And did you ever hear of the Pomodoro technique? Did you ever hear of that? Okay, so Pomodoro is 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off. 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off.
Okay.
So for 20 solid minutes, you are working, whether it's making phone calls or sending out emails or whatever, 20 minutes, and then you have to stop for 5 minutes. And that's the Pomodoro. The Pomodoro is a tomato in Italian. But if you look up Pomodoro, I mean, it's amazing because we do this all the time. So if you go up to pomodoro.com, or I think it's .com, and they even have sheets for you. So you can write down what you're doing for your 20 minutes. What did you accomplish? So in 20 minutes, can you make 5 phone calls?
Okay.
We used to use an egg timer. If you were on the phone more than 3 minutes, you are on the phone way too long because your job was to book an appointment, not to sell. So same promise. So, so in 20 minutes, can you make 5 phone calls? Probably. Can you make 10? Maybe. Okay, but then at the end of 20 minutes, you stop for 5 minutes. Go have something to drink, go walk around the house, do a couple of pull-ups or whatever you want to do. Just do it because 20 minutes is coming back. And you can do, how many different sections of 20 minutes can you do in 6 hours? A lot. So maybe
a
you
lot
won't,
done.
right? So, but you're very focused.
Yeah, because
It'll
it's the
change.
20 minutes.
Yeah, because your 5 minutes, do your text messaging in 5 minutes
Yeah.
if that's what you want to do. But you cannot do it during your 20 minutes. You have to be super structured. So when you sit down for your 20 minutes, you have to have everything. You can't first go look, okay, I'm going to look to see who I'm going to call and who am I supposed to follow up. And
Yeah.
No, in 20 minutes, you have to have your list, the name, phone number, email, and notes. And that's what you're doing, 20 minutes. Boom. Next 20 minutes, you're going to return emails. Okay, boom, done. You try it. I'm telling you.
I'm going to.
We did it, and it was scary. It was scary how much stuff you got done in 20 minutes, right? Can you just imagine like having nothing else?
I know one person, a person I was selling some triple net investments with, he's out of California, but he sent all of his sales people the timer with the sand in it.
Yep.
And he said when that 3 minutes was up, you flip it, you make a phone call, you flip it over, they have 3 minutes. And
That's
so
right.
when that sand runs out, that call's done.
Done.
Next one. And it's amazing how many calls you can get.
do. Now, do you know how long 3 minutes actually is?
It is.
It's so
it seemed
long.
like-
People go, "Oh my God, it's only 3 minutes." You can't, 3 minutes is forever, forever,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
We did an experiment, and we gave everybody 60 seconds. Close your eyes, and you open your eyes when you think 60 seconds is over. And some people open it in like 5 seconds.
Right.
And some people, like 3 minutes later, their eyes are still closed. You have no idea how long it is, but 3 minutes is long. So if you're on the phone with somebody for 3 minutes, like, be done.
But yeah, setting a timer these days.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Before I forget, I wanted one more thing, that same salesperson, and he's a multi-million-dollar, he earns $1 million plus in commissions a year, so I learned a lot from him. One other key thing that I still remember is when I send an email asking if someone's ready to buy a property, he said to write, how do you feel about making an offer on this property?
Yep.
So how do you feel, instead of what do you think about making an offer on this property?
Emotion.
So changing feel to think, but I just wanted to throw that out.
I think it's a great thing.
And I do that all the time, so I'm always asking, how do you feel about something? Like, how do you feel about working out today? Or, just instead of what do you think about working out? If I got to think about it, I'm like, oh, I dread doing that.
Well, and it's easier for us as humans to feel anyways, especially being women. We feel before, I think we feel before we think. You feel someone's energy, you automatically feel, and then you think.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing is, I always ask people when we're done, when we're not sure like where we stand, or I'll say, so how do you see us working together? And they're going, wow, in so many different ways. Okay, good, let's narrow it down to one. No, I don't say that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But here's another good question, especially in commercial real estate. You're talking to somebody who obviously wants to build their portfolio and everything else. I always ask this question. I did it twice, 2 different CEOs. I said, so tell me, what do you still want to accomplish? Holy cow, I got so much information about these things that they want to accomplish personally and professionally. Can you imagine what you could get from somebody that's buying a commercial building when he tells you or she tells you that they want to do X, Y, and Z and build this legacy and da-da-da-da-da-da. You have to listen, because when you ask that question, a lot of things come out. So I always, those are 2 questions I always ask. How do you see us working together? So what do you still want to accomplish? And it's amazing. And it's not anything anything that you're manipulative, because you're not. You're truly, if you don't care about the person, don't ask. Right?
Exactly.
Like, if you want to get rid of them, don't ask the question. But I truly care about, every single person that I am sitting with. And if I don't, I won't ask the question.
That's,
we could talk all day and day and day and day about sales. And we will definitely, if you're welcome to it, and it fits in your triangle, to have you come back.
Speaking, coaching, training.
Right. So with your mentoring, training, coaching, speaking, I know on your website, there's a lot of information of where you're up, speaking at different events, but wanted to show Judy's books, Selling in a Skirt, The Secrets Women Don't Know About Sales and What Men Should Know Too, and also Walking on the Glass Floor. And I think you have maybe a couple other books.
Yeah, I have 2 other
too.
ones. Yeah, I do.
But how can we can get your books on Amazon, Barnes
You can go to
& Noble?
Amazon. You can go anywhere, but if you want me to personally sign them for you, because I can't do it on Amazon, they don't even tell us who the person is. They just say, this person bought a book. If you buy it from my website, then I can sign it and send it out. So
how do we reach you on your website?
So there's 2 websites. There's Selling in a Skirt, and then there's also Walking on the Glass Floor. So either one. And if you connect with me on any part of social media, whether it's Selling in a Skirt or Judy Hoberman, I post every single morning before 7 a.m. I'm very consistent, and people have asked me if I've changed my analytics. And I say, do I need to do it? Just tell me what to do. And they go, no, don't do anything, because I see your stuff every day at the same time. I'm like, okay. So I'm very consistent, but I don't sell. I either try to bring up a topic, or I do something that's motivational or encouraging or something like that, or I'll do something, just throw something out there. Here's a question for you. So you can connect with me, and I'm very good with my own social media.
Yeah, definitely on Facebook. I see every time I first wake up, I see Judy's post on motivation, and it always is a great thing to definitely read in the morning. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's been wonderful. And thank you, everyone here on Propelio TV. Please subscribe to YouTube, like, share, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batchkip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Life and Air.
Want to keep up with the latest Propelio TV daily? Be sure to subscribe and click that bell.